we rely on words to kind of direct us, I guess. But along the way throughout history, there's been a lot of words that's been made up. And in investing and trading, those words have all been made up recently, like in the last 60 years. I mean, there's candlestick chart patterns out there called like three white soldiers and things like that. Like, what? How are you supposed to know what three white soldiers means? If you don't even know what a candlestick is, you're not gonna have any idea what a three white soldier candlestick means. So our goal is to try to make it easier, or make it easy as possible, really, to where you don't need to know every single little detail and stupid name that some random person came up for this trading strategy. Like, my biggest example is triangles. You know, there's bull flags, there's pennants, there's wedges, all that stuff, all types of different triangles, but they're all just a triangle. They're either going to break up out of the tip of the triangle or they're going to break down out of the tip of the triangle. Doesn't matter the shape of the triangle or any of that other stuff. It's only going to do one of two things out of a triangle. So, you know, as long as you see a triangle and you get in on the support, stop loss right under the support of the triangle, if it breaks up, you're going to profit. If it breaks down, you just take a small loss. Move on to the next triangle if that's the strategy you're trying. You know, so it's all about just trying to simplify it as much as possible and not have to know all of these crazy terms that are not necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And actually, you know, the three white soldiers, that's a bullish pattern. I know that much.
Yeah.
But with the triangles and stuff, you know, I actually agree for the most part of what you're saying, in the sense of you're actually more interested in what the price action's showing rather than what the pattern's called. So
exactly.
If it's a descending triangle, which is, let's say, slightly more bearish than an ascending triangle, don't worry about the technicalities if you don't understand. But long story short, it doesn't really matter. The breakout from the triangle is what matters, like you say.
Exactly.
And I think if people focus more on that, they'll actually be able to trade better, they'll be able to invest better, be able to time their entries a bit better, so they'll be able to get into the market at better times. Because what a lot of people do wrong is they sort of see like a symmetrical triangle, or maybe instead of a symmetrical triangle, they see a certain triangle that's a bit more bearish, and they act early because they think, oh, descending triangle, that must mean it's bearish. And they buy too soon. Whereas if you just step aside from what the pattern's called and wait for the signal of the pattern, like you say, wait for that break out in a direction, then you're actually going to find you do so much better than trying to name everything correctly, or trying to identify specifics. You know, especially if you're a beginner, specifics don't matter. It's more about the general rules and so on. That's what I'd say. So I agree with you for the most part. But I also think it is important to understand the differences in certain patterns. So that's probably where I know a little bit more than the average viewer, you know, on the pattern. So I've kind of spent more time in the details, but I don't think it's the right way to go if you're a new trader, like maybe some of the people who are coming onto the platform.
Exactly. And once you find something simple that works, I mean, you could, as long as it's working, use it until it stops working. And if it never stops working, well, guess what? You've become a consistent trader. So, you know, because I see a lot of, which I teach multiple strategies, but like I said, I'm trying to simplify them as much as possible. The newest one I came up with is, it's actually really strange. These moving averages that I use now, I had never even heard of. But it works really well, and the strategy is simplified to when the gray line crosses over to the upside of the purple line. That's where you enter. That's it. That's the whole strategy. And then you sell when the candle is way off of the gray line. That's it.
It'd be interesting if you can get sort of on the site some sort of like strategy building part of the community.
That's a good idea.
For like strategies together that they found, and maybe other people can say if they've had success on them or something. You know, I think that's really nice, because like you say, there are so many different strategies, and you've obviously found this particular one that works, and maybe one strategy works on, say, oil, but doesn't work as well on say crypto,
right?
Because the market might move slightly different. But yeah, you know, I think that'd be a cool idea, and like you say, it's about simplifying it. That's one thing, you know, I think you and I both 100% agree on.
Yeah.
because all these like some people can complicate it and still do very well.
Sure.
But generally, you know, the simpler you make it, easier to make decisions, first of all, and it's easier to see signals. You know, if you've got 20 signals because your, you know, analysis is complex, then try making a decision on 20 signals. It's just not, it's not possible. You know, the best strategy is normally the simplest. So I 100% agree with kind of what you're getting at with the MA strategy you were just talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just something I'm always trying to simplify them as much as possible. So that new strategy is something I've been trying out and working on, and it's worked pretty good so far. But there's literally so many different strategies out there with so many different names. And that's why I'm at the point now where it's like, I don't need to learn every single one of these strategies to be profitable. I just need to learn that one strategy. And I don't care if it's called the New Yorker sub special. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about that name. You can call it whatever you want. You can call a crossover, an EMA crossover. You could call it the Bobcat jumping over the picket fence strategy if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, there's no limit to how far you can go with it. So I don't want that much complication. Even for an experienced trader, I've been trading for 7 years and I've learned a whole bunch of different strategies. And the simpler ones, for me, the way my brain works, always end up being more consistent because you're not overthinking anything. And it's very easy to overthink and see patterns that aren't there. I've done that in the past. I'll draw a pattern and then later go back and look at it and be like, what did I even see there? There's nothing even there. I just made a triangle on the chart out of nothing. You know what I mean? So you don't want to have your strategy so difficult to where you're overthinking every little move and price and all of that. It's just too much.
Well, I think that's part of the refinement process, you know, and the trading. And obviously, you say having that 7 years experience really helps you refine it to like what you've done. But I think that's why it's important people kind of, if they are looking to sort of trade and invest, they do it now. They start learning now because it does take time sometimes to refine that strategy. And if you can use something like the website, the FrameworkFortune website, you're going to be able to find that refinement a little quicker because you're in a community that can help you know, refine it and accelerate that. So that's the benefit of the community and the content and all of that. Just curious, by the way, what is your sort of favorite trading strategy?
Probably the new one, really. Like I said, it's just it's the 10 adaptive EMA, which is my gray line, and the 40 double EMA, which is a purple line. And when the 10, the gray line, crosses to the upside of the purple, it signals a bullish move almost every single time. And then as long as the candles stay above the gray line, that 10 adaptive, you just hold it. And then as soon as it cracks below the gray line, you just get out. And I used it on Wednesday on a stock FLGC. It ran from $5 to... What did it run to? It was a pretty crazy run, but anyway, I ended up making like $250 off of it, and I didn't even have that many shares. I'd already made some trades earlier, but it held above that 10 adaptive EMA all day, and it never dropped below it.
Mean?
What's that?
You know, the adaptive part. What's an adaptive EMA?
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.